Shalom, shalom. All praises due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to Joachim once again. All right, this is part 2 of the wickedness of Esau in the Caribbean. And then last part, we left off where the dashing of babies, all right, the evisceration of men and women with child, all right, and ultimately the captivity of the so-called Dominicans, all right, the so-called Puerto Rican, the so-called Cuban, all right, in the island of Hispaniola specifically, all right. And where we last left off, said that the men were sent to the mines to mine for gold, and the women were put on the field to till the ground, all right. So let's continue on here. It says the men died in mines, hunger starved and oppressed with labor, and the women perished in the fields, harassed and broken with the evils and calamities. Thus, an infinite number of the inhabitants that formerly peopled this island were exterminated and dwindled away to nothing by such consumptions. They were compelled to carry burthens of 81 pounds weight, and that 100 or 200 miles complete. And the Spaniards were borne by them by the shoulders in a pencil vehicle or carriage. All right, so they were forced to carry the Spaniards, all right, in carriages, as well as carrying 81 pounds. All right, it said Salakia, I lost my place. It says the Spaniards were borne to them by their shoulders in pencil, vehicle, or carriage, or kinds of beds made of networks by the Indians. For in truth, they made use of them as beasts to carry the burthens and cumbersome baggage of their journeys. Insomuch it frequently happened that the shoulders and backs of the Indians were deeply marked with their scourges and stripes, such as they used to serve a tired jade accustomed to burthens. And as to those slashes with whips, blows with staves, cuffs and boxes, maledictions and curses, with 1,000 such kind torments they suffered during the fatigue of their laborious journeys, it will require a long tract of time and many reams of paper to describe them. And when all were done, would only create horror and consternation in the reader. Exactly. So he had to kind of hold himself back essentially and not write about the other things, all right? Because this is just a short account. All right, this is just a short account. But this reminded me of the scripture here in Ecclesiastes. It says servants upon horses. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. It says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. All right. So that's what that scene right there reminded me of, man. It reminded me of this scripture. Because the so-called Dominican, the so-called Puerto Rican, the so-called Cuban, all right, the so-called Hispanic in general, all right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and the people that descend from them, all right, you are the Lord's chosen people, man. You are the Israelites. And you are the Lord's chosen people, man. You are Yasha Alab. All right. He Prince of the Power. He's Prince of the Power, man. And this scene right here is a perfect example of how the servants have been upon horses and the princes walking upon the earth as servants. So once again, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. It says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. All right. Now we're gonna go into this this video here from YouTube. I'm gonna skip through it, but just to give you an image to that.
Quienes me instruyeron para que se os tratasen con respeto y cordialidad. Solicitamos que reconozcáis a la Iglesia y al Papa como legisladores del universo. Y a la vez que aceptéis al rey y a la reina de España como legisladores de estas tierras. A cambio, recibiréis nuestro amor y nuestra caridad.
All right, and that goes into the word smoother than butter. Essentially, he's giving them worthless pieces of metal and saying that this is a token. If you accept this, you're accepting the Pope, all right, as the God of the universe, essentially. And if you accept this, you're going to get our kindness and love in return.
Si no queremos, capitán. Si no,
we don't want to.
Os haremos esclavos y dispondremos de vosotros a voluntad. Nos apropiaremos de vuestras posesiones y os causaremos un dolor y la pagamos. Mana chairi, tukuy kay halpata no apikapus pagkasayko, y mana alin kausay manchura sa kankitis. Y mata mulianquito y no kay kumantas. ¿Qué queréis de nosotros? Impuestos. Olgeta munangu. Todo indio mayor de 14 años tendrá que llenar un cascabel. Tukuy no ganchis. Chun katawayo guatamanta pataman. Un tachinanchis tian. Y Mawan. ¿Qué ha dicho? ¿Con qué? Con oro. Toma. Oreban un tachinanchis tanin. No es muy grande. Mana hatunchu. Capitán. Oreban un tachinanchis. La cola.
Being branded.
¿Qué es esto? Mana, ¿entendí, Necho? ¿Crees que soy tonto? ¿Me quieres engañar o qué? Aquí no hay más que arena. No caigo, mana, ¿entendí, Cucho? Que me hables en cristiano, que no te entiendo. Caipi más cancho ni matapis. Eso es arena. No caigo más caigo. ¡Volarle! Vamos. No hay suficiente. Mancanchu. No hay suficiente. Mucha arena. Mancanchu. Venga, llevároslo. A podar. Tú, vamos.
So you saw I said to cut his hand off. You know? The women on the field, as it was described in the excerpt, you know? Tried to fight back. You know, Jake, you know how Jake is, man. Jake Jake was different back then. They're gonna try to fight back, but ultimately, it came to naught. Well, that's them looking for them in the woods and whatnot. I'm gonna move a little forward. You're captured. You're recaptured.
Mujeres, niños, viejos, todo el mundo tiene que ver esto.
And a public execution in order to instill fear in the rest of the
Esto
people.
volverá a los indios en nuestra contra durante generaciones.
¿Por qué no os unís a los franciscanos y salváis sus almas? Es que las tienen. Sin remete restante.
A ver, los evangelistas, Mateo, Marcos, Lucas, Juan. Padre, ¿podéis ayudarme? Creo que he olvidado los nombres. César, Carlos, Manolo, Paco, Federico, Felipe.
A ver, ¿quién hará de Jesucristo?
Te bautizaré y obtendrás la gloria y la paz en el cielo. De lo contrario, sufrirás un tormento eterno en el infierno. En el nombre de Cristo todavía puedes salvar tu alma. Aprender la diferencia entre el cielo y el infierno. Pedirle perdón al Señor. Yo te bautizaré y obtendrás la gloria y la paz eterna en el cielo. De lo contrario, sufrirás un tormento eterno en el infierno. ¿Me has entendido bien?
¿Dicho cristianos se loman?
¿Van los cristianos al cielo? Los buenos cristianos, sí.
Guaychis infiernaman. ¡Silencio! Esto es lo que os ocurrirá si desafiáis a los cristianos.
Articol 15, Santa Pesciolini, Abuti certa, Agudos Cardai certa. Articol 15, Santa Pesciolini certa, Agudos Santa Pesciolini certa, Agudos.
¡Oh, desprecio! ¡Desprecio a vuestro Dios! ¡Desprecio a vuestra provincia!
We basically get the point. This is the wickedness, man. This is the wickedness that the so-called white man was doing in these times, man. This is what he was into. In the book, he describes them as butcheries, man. And this picture is a perfect, like, look at that, man. This guy's over here casually opening up a dismembered torso. They got legs and, arms. All right. This is the way the so-called white man was operating in those times. All right. And this is the way the so-called white man has always operated, man, through violence. This is just what he does. You annihilated someone here. This is what the so-called white man does, though, man. This is his MO. All right. Now we're gonna go right real quick back here because there's a portion here that talks about them consuming. All right. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it in the next part. All right. So until the next part, shalom.